Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Brenda and Tracy, and this is episode 8. Can you believe there's been 8 episodes already, Brenda? It's insane.
Wow. I'm just so
Anyway,
thankful that you're keeping track.
yeah, I have no bruises. I'm good as new. Um, so today's episode, we were supposed to have a guest on, but he had an issue with timing, so we're going to get him on next week. That's Paul from Brainstorm. But for today, it's just going to be Brenda and I chatting as usual. So I'm going to have a question for Brenda about what she wants to discuss today, because I really had no ideas.
That's our question. Okay. So, so, um, what I would love to talk about is because I think that, there are some things that are going to be fresher for me just because of my timing. That you,
Mhm.
Tracy, you're coming on, you're 21. We're going to
Yes,
celebrate
soon,
that. Yeah. So,
soon.
yeah. But so when I had first had my stroke, afterward, there was a psychologist that was talking with me. And of course, because of the pandemic, it was all virtual,
Hmm.
which, whatever. But one of the, I think, most memorable things that stuck with me in talking with her was she used the expression above the neck and below the neck. And the idea is there are lots of things that we can understand above the neck. I mean, obviously, it's funny we're talking about brains, but even with all the trauma that our brains have gone through, they're still capable of getting a lot of things, understanding it. But just because you understand it up here doesn't mean that you're not feeling it down here. So that's kind
Okay.
of what I wanted to talk about. So I guess my question back to you would be, is there anything that you have understood above the neck but still felt below the neck? Or would you like me to give my example first?
Yes, give your example because I'm still trying to grasp this whole concept.
Okay. So yesterday I was with my friends. We were playing Mahjong, which if anyone else is playing it, it's a fabulous game. But so I have had to come to terms with the fact that the before version of me, before the stroke, I was fiercely independent. If I wanted to go somewhere or do something, I just took care of it. So
Hmm.
if I had a place I wanted to go, I just hopped in the car, I just went. And so now I need to be hopefully gracious and
Hmm.
grateful. Rides and help from friends or from Jay.
Right.
Um, and so, and I know, and they have said to me over and over again what a pleasure it is for them to do. It's really not a problem. And I believe them.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it above the neck that it's not safe for me to drive. They want me there. I get all that. But it doesn't mean that it takes away below the neck that feeling of like, ugh, I wish I could take care of this myself.
Yes,
I feel it. So I get it, but I feel it all at the same time.
I understand now. I get it.
Okay?
Yeah, like, do you feel like when I was in that position, um, did you feel like a burden? Like,
Uh,
I still do sometimes.
So much so that Jay had to forbid me from using the word burden because I said all the time, oh, I feel like such a burden.
Yeah?
Because I think also that it wasn't like I went from neutral to needing help. It was like I went from being a real caretaker and giving to other people to suddenly needing to be the one to receive the care, which
Right.
was really, really tough for me to accept.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand that, and I definitely have been in that situation. Um, Even with the social aspect of wanting to be around a lot of people and, from Geneseo and times like that where we were always go, go, go in big groups and hanging out at the IB and,
Yeah,
everybody talking, the music going, and it was never
yeah.
an issue. It was just, you were shouting over other people and talking and laughing and drinking and everything else. And now to even go out to a bar like that, it's like it's got to be a small group, not so crazy loud. And I feel it, like you said, that, I miss those days where I was like, super energetic when it came to social things. And now a lot of times I feel like, you know what, I'm fine just staying home. Like I really feel that I've become not a hermit or anything like that, but just more to myself. I find peace in that. That if I go out and things are too loud or too hectic, I get exhausted. Still, 21 years later, on the 23rd, 21 years later, I still feel it at times. It's not all the time, but if I'm tired, if I had a busy week and then I try to go out, I'm just like, I'd rather be home where I know my surroundings, it's calm, it's peaceful. Um, so I definitely understand that. Like that would be how I feel that. And I
Right.
definitely have felt where I felt like a burden and sometimes still do when I need like I have a surgery coming up and appointments and I know once I have that knee replacement in February, now it's February 18th, I think. Um I don't want to be a burden to my family to help me again, like what happened 2 summers ago with my ankle when it broke. I don't want to put that on them. So I'm going to need help in the first couple of weeks, and I want
So
to do it all
you
myself.
know that, but you feel, ugh,
Yeah, I feel like, oh my gosh, my poor niece Emily, she's going to be, thinking she has to run around for me, and I try to like when I know I have a procedure or something like that coming up. I try to prepare the kitchen so I can grab quick meals or snacks, things like that, so I'm not, bothering anybody in the house. So I think because it's going to be such a major surgery, I am going to go to a rehab after the surgery, just for like a week, I think, just so they can tend to the incision and get me on my feet for a few days and gain some strength and balance. Um, so I don't put that on my family. So I get it. And they would say, no, it's not a problem. Like you said, it's not a problem. We don't mind. But, down here, I feel that they want to go about their business. They're all busy. So I don't want to do that to them. So yeah, this is a really good topic.
well, my counter, I guess, follow up question and reminder that to try to give myself is if the tables were turned, you would, of course, want to help someone else. So, like, if I
Absolutely.
needed help, you would absolutely help me and not think that I'm a burden, but
Right.
yet we put that story. I say to Jay all the time, don't tell yourself a story. We make stories, right? So we make
Yes.
a story of like, I'm a burden, I'm a pain. It's so
Yeah.
difficult. I'm making it so challenging for them. But you know what? If we change it around and say, wait a minute, if they need my help, and I could, I absolutely would do for them. And
Absolutely.
it's been a greatest pleasure.
Yeah. And I'd like to think that people think and feel like I do all the time, but they don't always because their experiences in life is much different than my situation. And of course, my family's very helpful and my friends are very thoughtful and helpful, but I don't know. I still feel like I would go above and beyond. That's just my nature. They would to an extent, but I still feel like I would be a little bit of a burden. And I don't know if that's valid or not, but I do believe that I would do for them, and I'd like
Right,
to believe that they would do for me and not like complain about it when they're not
right,
in my presence or
right, right.
feel it or whatever. But I don't
Right.
think they would, but I still don't want to put them in a position to have to do things like that. So,
Right, right. I hear that. I hear that. But I think that's another reason it is such a good topic to bring up because I think the fact that with all the things that we have that are different about our experiences, that is something that is similar, which makes me
yes.
think that it's probably a very common uh feeling that people have. And
Oh yeah.
and just like a lot of things we talk about, it's absolutely going to be related to any ABI, but it's going to be related to anything. Anytime
Any
somebody is
injury,
in a
yeah.
position,
Yeah.
any time of needing to ask for and accept help, that could potentially come up. And that's a
Yeah.
very real thing.
Yeah. And what's funny? There are people in my experience, that don't have as serious issues and complications that we do, but are huge takers, and they don't think a second thought about it. And they're just
Right,
like,
right,
oh,
right.
can you do this? Can you help me with this? Can you? And they don't have limitations really, but they're takers, and that's funny to me. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, you have no idea to what it means to really need help. Like,
Mm, right, right,
so
right, right.
that's just people in general, there's so many
Absolutely,
different types of people. But
absolutely.
yeah, I think this is a very common feeling. In fact, I'm on a lot of groups on Facebook, with stroke survivors, TBI, things like that. And somebody posted today, their question was, what is the longest that a person has survived after a stroke that you know about? And everyone was commenting 4 years then, 2 years. And I popped in and say 21 years very soon. And people were like commenting after that, like, really?
Right,
Oh my gosh, that
right.
gives us hope.
Absolutely.
That as far as I know people that are still around much later than me, that I've met along the way. But people are still shocked, and they're kind of asking me questions like, do you ever feel normal again? Can you ever get back your movement? Can you ever go back to work? And my
Right.
answer to that is always, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's stroke is different. You know, ev-
Absolutely.
the way people heal and the therapies and how their body reacts to the therapies. Even in so, people are complaining, well, not complaining, but sharing that, they have that tight spasticity that I had in this hand. And look, 20 years later, and I found a doctor to loosen up my spasticity and my hand's open. But now I think, okay, we have to adjust it because now my wrist is just super floppy, and I feel like I used it more when it was a little spastic.
Interesting.
So there's
Interesting.
always like room to
There's
play around.
a yin and a yang. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have to take the good with the bad, and then even if you find something that works, you have to get used to it now. Like I, for 20 years, had this hand in a tight fist. I still do everything with this hand. But in my mind, when I was talking to this doctor, Dr. Rai, who we're going to have on at some point, I said to him, I'm so tired of the tightness and it's just up here. And so he worked with me and gave me 2 rounds of death sport. And now I have to adjust to that. It's kind of flaccid and just doesn't want to do anything. And I have to regain that strength. And he
Right.
seems to think, this is interesting. After my second round, he was shocked that it worked so quickly the first round that my hand opened up literally the next day or two.
Wow.
So he was really impressed and he was really happy about it. So then he gave me this next round because you can get it every 3 months. So I went in with, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and he gave me that second round. And he said, okay, after, he gave me shots here, 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 and the wrist. And he gives it to me in my leg to loosen up. I cannot do this with my left foot. I can't, my ankle is just too tight. It's like locked in there. Um, so he does all the shots, and then he held his hand inside mine and say, okay, squeeze. And I'm like, it's not gonna do
Yeah.
anything. And he said, just try, keep trying. And I'm like, eh,
Yeah.
and I tried to explain this to my niece this morning. I'm using every other muscle in my body except the ones that I need to work.
Right. Right. Right.
So I'm like, he's like, you can do it. And his hand's inside mine, and he's like, squeeze. And I get a little tiny bit. And he said, okay, you have to keep practicing it. And this is the analogy he used. He said, the communication between your brain and your hand and your arm, it's like a huge traffic jam on the expressway. And right now, the signal's not getting through. But if you keep doing it, and he said, use your right hand to assist, like when you're telling your fingers, okay, pinch, pinch, close, close. And I'm like trying with all my might. I'm like trying to use telepathy. Close, close. He said, eventually that traffic jam will loosen up, and then traffic will start flowing again.
Amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
So I'm like, really? After 21 years, you think that I'll get some movement? He's like, I believe you can. He said, I don't think it's going to be full function just yet, but he seems to think I'll even with stretching and OT, I cannot do this with my left hand. I can't turn my wrist like that. I do stretching like this. So his goal with me is to get me to at least pinch and to get me to do like this, which I can't do. So now it's much looser and I could actually do the stretches with using my good hand. And while
Right.
I'm watching TV, this is all loose now. I was never
Right.
able to do this
Right.
since the brain aneurysm and stroke. But now I'm at least able to manipulate it and I feel the stretch and then turn it and I feel all the stretches in here. And actually, most of your movement in your hand comes from the tendons and muscles in your arm.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm still working on that and we still have to adjust. When I go back to him for my follow up next week, I think I don't get another round of shots, but we discuss, where I am with the progress. And I think I'm going to tell him I think we did a little too much in the hand
Yeah.
because it doesn't want to do anything and I feel very weak. My arm, I used to have strength. I
Right.
could put like grocery bags, as long as it had a handle, I could throw it on this hand
Right.
and
Right.
it had strength to hold it up so I wouldn't drop it. But now I find that I lost some muscle control in my arm that it's difficult to even raise my arm.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
that I'll have to share with him so he knows next time, okay, we're going to back off on the arm and the hand a little bit, and see if that's more normal than
Right.
to one of the extremes.
Right.
So, and I shared that in this group and I said, I don't think I'm ever going to be the same like you and I discussed. I'm still me. The essence of me is still there, but everything's so different. You just have to adapt. You have to find a way to take your limitations and say, okay, how can I do what I want to do with these limitations? And you find ways. And if you really want to, and I know it's very difficult and everything takes much, much longer, still zipping up a jacket is difficult and buttoning buttons and all those things. But I've learned to do so much with just this one hand and this hand acting as like someone described it as like a paperweight, a holder, just to
Right.
keep something
Right.
in place.
Right. Right.
Like,
Right.
so even when I'm zippering a coat, I'll put this hand against the left side of the zipper and use this hand to kind of guide that. And then I just hold the bottom of it, pushing in like this.
Right.
And then
Right.
I'm able to jimmy up the zipper. So, you find ways around the typical ways of doing things. So, like I shared with them, I do just about everything I used to do, just it takes longer. I have worse balance and, I had to find a way to work around it, but
Right.
anything's possible. I truly
Absolutely.
think that. I truly think that. Now, in your therapies, what have you experienced as far as your walking? Now, your arms and hands were not affected at all.
Yeah, well, I am left affected, so
Left
I
side
have
affected?
yes.
Okay.
So and the challenge there is I'm left-handed. So
Oh, I didn't know
so
that.
writing has become, and I was previously, I had really good handwriting. So
Mhm.
that's a challenge. So I do a lot more typing and
Yes.
printing things. Um, but something that I don't know if this is common or not, but one of the things that I have is really from my shoulder all the way down to my toe on my whole left side is like constantly tingling like champagne bubbles. You know, like,
Really?
oh yeah, yeah, and at first I think for the first few weeks, months, I thought, okay, it'll eventually disappear.
Yeah.
But 6 years later, no. And every now and then, and I don't talk about it because what am I
Right.
gonna say? but every now and then Jay will see me like I'm doing this. I'm just trying
Like
to
trying to shake it out?
work on it. He's like, "Are you feeling the bubbles?" I said, "Jay, I know I don't say it, but I feel them 24/7."
Wow. And there's
Now
no pain.
it's not pain, thank God, not pain, but it's always there. And if I am doing something with my arm around my leg on the side, I can do it, but I have certainly have weakness. So there's weakness and tingling. So it makes it a little difficult. But yeah, then there's me going, but I don't have a drop foot. I'm not paralyzed. I can walk.
Mhm.
I need my walker, but I can walk. So I'm
Mhm.
like constantly playing this game of like it could be worse.
Yeah.
Now, there's no
Yeah.
doubt it could be better. I could be running a marathon. I could be driving myself to Mashong
But you're
myself.
doing 10Ks, I mean.
But you know what? I guess the point is, it's we've got to take those little wins, and like
Mhm.
you said, um, it's a dance, right? Like so
Yeah.
with your arm, like your hand. I mean,
Mhm.
like it was an improvement, but now it's maybe went too far. So maybe now I need to
Right.
dial it back
And
a
I
little.
still have to learn how to use it now like this.
Yeah, yeah.
So which do I prefer? I don't I don't know. Things were a little easier when it was in a tight
Well, you were
fist.
familiar with it. You were familiar. It's amazing the things that we because we're familiar, we hold on to them because
Yeah.
we're in a way comfortable with it. Even though
Right.
it could maybe be better, but we get comfortable with it, we get familiar with it. And so
Yes.
now suddenly you have to learn something new. And
Right.
I had a really, real interesting thing happen also because I know you talk much more about things like neuroplasticity than I do. But I had um, because we've talked several times about the fact that the timing of my stroke because of the pandemic, I didn't have really any kind of therapies. We were really
Right.
on our own. And Jay talked about the fact that at one point we were walking like nonstop.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe he had you
Just
doing all
trying to,
that.
trying to get around. The challenge is, and I've talked about the fact that I really learned how to walk 3 times in life. The first time, obviously, when I'm a baby, right?
Mhm.
The second time coming home where it was just Jay and I, and I'll come back to that. And then the third time when I finally got physiotherapy, I had to relearn how to walk because what I was doing wasn't right. So I was walking so much, I started to have issues with my knee.
Yep.
And at one point, Jay was behind me, and he noticed that because I told you I'm left side affected, my left foot was out just slightly.
Yeah.
But you're doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I wasn't looking at it, it felt straight.
Yeah.
But when I looked down and I saw like, oh, it's like this, and so then when I tried to straighten out, it felt like my foot was like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But I did it enough times where I put it straight. I was basically trying to say to my brain, okay, this is your foot straight. And I will never forget the morning that I got up. And this was like a couple of years later of doing this, focusing on this, where I was like, I thought my foot felt straight. I looked down and it actually was straight. I was like, oh my
Wow.
gosh, I've actually
Wow.
trained it. And so
Yeah.
I got
And
so
that's
excited.
the neuroplasticity. Yeah.
Right, right. But
Right.
it doesn't take just one time. It does take 10 times. It might take a
100.
10,000
Yeah.
times. You
Right.
can finally do it. So
Yes.
if you work that hand, who knows? Maybe you
Yeah, who
can.
knows? And right now I'm like, and I have to make this noise in order to try to do it. And every muscle in my body's tensing up but
Right,
that. But
right, right.
yeah, I'm left side affected as we know. And I'm getting my knee replaced because when I, went to the orthopedic, I said, I've had arthritis in this leg for a long time and it's gotten real bad. And he said, well, think about it. Since the stroke, your gait is not normal.
Right, right.
You pick up a way to walk where you feel most balanced, but the joint from being misused for so many years
Was
is
taken
rubbing,
advantage of.
and
Yeah.
the osteophytes start growing because you're using the joint incorrectly. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to get this. Hold on, I'm reaching. My foot was so bad that I had to get this AFO. And people are like, "What's an AFO?" I didn't know anything about it until I went to physical therapy last year because I don't know if I shared this yet or not, but a car ran over my foot in a parking lot. I
I
don't
don't
think I
think you're
talked about
kidding
that.
me.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You
since
did.
that since that injury, my drop foot is much worse. Like, I never really noticed it before. I never really needed a brace or anything special to keep my foot. I was clumsy, but it wasn't noticeable. Where now, without the AFO, I've fallen, I don't know how many times in the last couple of months. So my foot wants to not only drop and not go heel toe, it wants to go outward. So I'm kind of dragging and it's throwing me off. Like, my balance has never been this bad. So when I was going to physical therapy for that break, the break in my ankle that happened, um, they were trying to teach me, and I walked into physical therapy one day, and my foot dragged on the carpet, and I almost fell, and I grabbed this chair that was next to me, and I caught myself. And the director of the facility, she saw it, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, this happens all the time, you know. At least I didn't hit the ground." And she said, "You don't have an AFO?" And I'm like, "No, I've never even heard of that." And she describes, I think it's an artificial foot orthotic. I think that's what it stands for. I'm not definite.
Yeah.
So she told me where to go, and there's a couple of places out by me. Um, I think it's Long Island Orthotics and Prosthetics. And you go and get your whole leg and foot like casted. So it's a mold that's only for you, like it's personalized. And then I waited a couple of weeks and then I got this. And I had to buy a bigger shoe because this has to slide into your shoe. So now I have these kind of ugly New Balance. I
Yeah.
call them the dad shoe, but that's the only thing I can wear with that. My other shoes don't fit. That doesn't fit into them. So there's a huge difference when I wear the AFO, and I had to relearn how to walk with it. And I still sometimes use a cane if I'm feeling really off kilter. Um, but she noticed when she was watching me walk when I was getting molded for it, and then when I got it, she said to me, "My kneecap, it bends like this." Mine was going this way, like it was going behind. And I'm like,
Wow.
"How does that happen?" And
Wow.
that's just the tendons in my knees, just like giving too much. They're
Right. Right.
outstretched almost. So that's why my AFO is higher. So it forces my knee into a straight position.
Right. Right.
So it definitely helps. Like, my knee pain didn't diminish completely, and she was hoping that it would help a lot. But I just have so much arthritis in there that it really needs to get replaced. And they didn't want to do it. First, I had to lose weight because they won't look at you if your BMI's too high. So I lost some weight, and now my BMI is good. And my age, I'm 54. And he said, it's these knees, these new knees are only made to go like 25 years. He goes, "You're going to need another one." And I said, "I don't care. I want these next 25 years to be painless.
Absolutely.
I'll take it
Absolutely.
and I'll deal with that if I'm
Right.
around till 80, like,
Right.
I don't even know."
Right.
So, he agreed to do it. I mean, I had to try the cortisone shots. That didn't work. I tried PT. That didn't work. And then I went to the gel shots. I forgot what that medication's called. And it helps for like 4 days. You feel a little relief, but there's just so much arthritis. And then I asked, do I need a full knee replacement, or is there something you can do where it's like a partial thing? You can make a small incision, and I forget what they call that when they do surgeries like that. But he's like, no.
Laparoscopic. Yeah.
What was that?
Laparoscopic?
Yes, that's the word. Laparoscopic. I said, you can't go in there and like scrape out some of the osteophytes and scrape out some of the arthritis and then put, I don't know, a little fake cushion like that's in my neck. He's like, no, we haven't gotten to that point yet with technology. I'm like, okay, so my only choice is to get a new knee.
Maybe in 25 years they will have.
Yes. And then I won't need a whole new knee and they could put some kind of spring in there or pad or something.
Right, right, right.
But you never know. I mean, it's come a really long way with the treatments now. So we'll see. But that surgery is coming up in February, right after your birthday.
Mm,
You're February 8th, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
There's so many birthdays around your birthday. I know so many people with the 8th or the 10th. It's really fascinating to me. All my friends like have February. Even my sister is later in February, but I know so
And
many February.
today is Valentine's Day.
Is he really? My
Of
cousin's
course it is.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Isn't that so funny?
yeah.
Wow. But
And our
yeah.
son and our son Jacob is February 1st. So we have 3 Februarys.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Wow. I have a friend who has a lot in May. She's May, her daughter's May, her anniversary's in May, like all these May things. And it's just a busy month. And meanwhile, my birthday's in May, and I'm the only person I know that has a May birthday. So I just get along better with February babies, I guess.
You don't have to get beat for the month. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, that's my story for today is I'm hoping to get a little further with this and I keep practicing and it's kind of like self-defeating, like, oh, this is ridiculous. This isn't gonna work. Like, eh, but you don't know, like you said, you
I,
know.
I, did you hold on to one of those stress balls or no?
No, it won't even close a little bit to hold something.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
when it was real tight, I could pry my fingers open and I used to shove in this thing I found on Amazon. It was like a little squish cushion so my fingers wouldn't close because I had to like keep my fingernails real short because they would dig
Right.
into my palm.
Cut you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now it just kind of lays there. So I'm
Mhm.
going with Dr. Rye and his whole
Okay.
traffic jam theory. So I
Actually,
don't know.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, with the
It's a good.
signal and he's a really bright guy and he's such a sweetheart. So yeah, I can't wait to get him on and he's enthusiastic and he's very positive. Um and not all doctors are. They're like, "Well, this is the way it is." You know.
Right. Right.
He's
Right. Right.
very innovative and I
Right.
love that about him. So
Yeah.
and
Personally,
he actually has talked to me about working together with my new business.
wow.
So referring his patients in rehab and such to my services with the whole coaching when people leave rehab or the hospital. So that's a huge connection for me. So he's willing to work with me and refer people to me. So now I just have to get the other big hospitals in the area. I have one
Right.
hospital, Stony Brook, that I definitely I have a connection with, but to build my business, which is going to take a few more months. But that's a great start, I think, to have that
Absolutely.
relationship with a
Absolutely.
physician. So yeah,
Absolutely.
all exciting things on the horizon.
You're gonna be
So
great.
yeah, so do you have anything? I can't believe we're recording on a Thursday. It's so weird, right? Last week was a Friday.
Yeah, yes. And next week I think we're gonna record twice, right? Once with Paul and then hopefully with my kids.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we'll
That's
see
yeah,
if we can do
Tuesday
it.
with Paul if he's available.
Okay.
Oh, did you freeze? Okay. Um Tuesday with Paul if he's available and then your kids on Friday. So yeah, exciting. And this way I have things to edit and material to work with for my shorts and reels and all that stuff. I love doing that stuff. My sister thinks I'm crazy.
Thank goodness. Thank
You're
goodness for that
creative,
because I have no idea what to do.
but you're creative with the whole Canva thing. I'm not really familiar with Canva, but I love the little slides you put together. So when
Did
you
you?
share
I was
those,
so excited by the song that I chose with your story with the four non
yes,
blondes. I'm so excited.
yes, it was
So
perfect.
has to be that
I
song.
know. That's why when I tell you, okay, the video's up on YouTube, I knew you were going to go to work and you're going to come up with something really beautiful. And then when you post it, I download your, I try to download either the video and I try to find the song to go with it. But at least I
Okay.
get the pictures individually.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
it's working, whatever we're doing. But
We'll keep at it. We'll keep at it.
yes, yes. So in wrapping today up, you have a tip of the day? Did you have a tip
Yes.
of the day?
So I do have a tip, yes. Um, and Tracy and I spoke earlier that sometimes our tip is going to be a strategy or something that we recommend, and sometimes it's going to be a thing. And today happens to be a thing day. So
Okay,
one of
a thing.
one of, one of my daily practices is that before I get out of bed in the morning, I stretch. I have a whole routine.
Um, that's great.
Go into it. But what I found is this stretching strap. Can you
Oh,
see it?
yeah.
So,
People
so
use
I
that in yoga and Pilates, right?
exactly. So I was gonna say, like, if you don't want to get, I think I got this on Amazon, but
Mhm,
you could use a yoga strap. You can use just a TheraBand. You can use anything you have. But I
mhm,
put my foot in here that so I
mhm.
can hold onto it and stretch my hamstring and my my
Oh, that's
abductors,
great.
but very helpful. And
Yeah.
this is something that I would say is good for anybody who wants to stretch.
Yeah, I can never get a really good stretch like they do in physical
Yeah,
therapy. I'm
it
like,
goes
"How do
like
you do
this.
that? I can't maneuver," and that would definitely help.
And because these little loops, so I will change. Like if I want to not a far stretch, I will choose a lower one. But the higher up I go, the more I can pull on it to
Oh,
give
okay.
myself that stretch.
You get a deeper stretch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're phenomenal with your discipline. I am not as disciplined as you are with my therapies and all that. And I'm really in awe of how you do certain things every single day. And I guess because I'm so far out, I'm just like, whatever. But I need to get back into stretching and going to after this praying, after this replacement. I get Medicare, because of the disability. So with that is silver sneakers and I get a free gym membership. It's just getting my butt out of the house, especially in bad weather, and getting to
Mhm.
the gym. So I do want to start doing that again. And I'm able to go during the day when it's a little quieter.
Right,
I
right.
don't want to go when it's super packed in the evening after people get out of work. So, but I envy your discipline and I'm going to try to be more and emulate what you do.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
encourage you. I'll encourage you. And you know
Thanks.
what? I think that I can't. I don't want. I know I'm taking up too much time, but based on what you're saying, I actually have a second tip of the day,
Oh,
which
okay.
isn't a thing, but it kind of goes with what you're talking about. So, kind of a little trick that I have played with myself is if I went to a conference and I knew that there was a gym in the hotel, and I would say, okay, I'm gonna get up and go to the gym in the morning, but I would, yeah, have a
Yeah,
late night.
mornings are tough. Yeah.
Then I would say to myself, okay, I'm really tired. I really don't feel like going to the gym. I'm just gonna get up and go to the bathroom. If I'm still really tired, I'll go back to bed. I get up and go to the bathroom. Sure enough, you're up. I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe I will just get dressed. If I get dressed and I still want to go back to bed, I'll go back to bed. I'll get dressed and be like, okay. So
Uh-huh.
just breaking it down into very much more manageable steps. Then I would get to the point I would say, okay, I'm just gonna go to the door and open the door. If I still really don't want to go, I'll go back to bed. and I go out the door. Okay, I'll just get to the elevator. Okay.
Wow, you break it up that
It-
much, huh?
oh yeah. And before you know it, I'm at the gym. So
Wow.
hey, then the challenges get in the gym. I think, oh, I really would just want to have a coffee. I just want to go back to that. So then I said, okay, just 15 minutes on the treadmill. Then if I want to go back and have a coffee, I will. 15 minutes turns into an hour workout. So
Wow.
just breaking it up, making it manageable.
Yeah,
Because
that's a great tip.
what do they say? They say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
just take one step.
absolutely. Yeah, and how many times I heard something that it takes 8 times, or I don't remember the number, to do something in order to make it a habit. I don't remember that number, and I'm gonna find it, and I'll
Right,
share it next time, but
right,
yeah, it's all about creating the habits and getting your mind set that, "Okay, this is good for me. My body might be tired, but go in little chunks," like you said, and you'll get there. So that's a
right.
great tip. You had 2 great
Two tip,
tips.
a two-tip day. You're up next,
2 for the
Tracy.
price of 1. Now,
It's
I do have the AFO that if you never heard of one.
a free tipper. Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
so that's a huge tip. Look into an AFO in your area, and I recommend it if you find yourself falling, tripping, the drop foot is bad. It's not very pretty, and I was not happy. I got it in July, and I had to wear shorts, and it's now at least I can put, my stretchy pants over it, my runners or whatever, so you don't always see it, but sometimes I still put it on the outside. But that's my tip of the day. Get an AFO.
Not a UFO, an AFO.
Not a UFO. Nope, AFO. But yeah. Well, I'm so
Um,
glad that we were able to get together today because,
yes,
our
it
week
is.
got totally thrown off, but it worked
Yes,
out. It worked out.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I hope you have a great weekend. Do you have anything planned? Anything exciting?
My sister's coming, and my nephew's coming to visit. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's great. And where does your sister live? Is she in New York?
Yes, she is. She's up in northern New York. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll
Yeah.
be fun. That your
So,
nephew, how old is
are
he?
you having the current snowstorm? I know we're having a snowstorm, and they're having a snowstorm. Are you having one in Long Island?
We were supposed to get a lot of snow, and now the forecast says rain. So we're gonna
Okay.
have it was supposed to start tonight all day and then all through tomorrow. But now it's switched over to rain. So
Okay.
I think I'd much rather have the snow. It's just prettier. But
Right.
I think for people who are traveling, it's easier to travel in the rain. I mean, I don't have to go anywhere, so I'm fine either way.
Right. Right.
But yeah,
Right.
so you'll have a great busy weekend with
Yes.
how old is your nephew?
He's 6.
Oh, that's a fun age. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll be home with
I'm
these kiddos.
I'm sure you're not surprised that he's much more excited to see Uncle Jay than me.
Oh, of course. Of course. He does the boy things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when they want something yummy, guess who they're
Exactly.
coming to?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
So
I
I'll
have
see you on Tuesday.
yes, we'll talk and I'll try to get Paul all set up and we'll see you on Tuesday. Thanks
Sounds good.
everyone. Thanks
Okay.
for joining us and we'll see you next week. Bye, Bren.
Bye bye.
Mwah.
Bye bye.